I'll probably self-destruct if I ever lose, but I never do. This came directly from Drake, bro. And when you really think about it, it's a loaded line. It's a loaded line. Before we even get to what I want to talk about, let's dissect that line. Drake had reached a point in his career, right, where he believed that no matter what, the industry was going to protect him, that he was above the law. That's essentially how Drake viewed it. And there's nothing wrong with him viewing it that way, considering the fact that he is everything that the industry wanted. Your music pacifies the people. It doesn't cause any type of thinking. It doesn't cause any type of action, right? The music pacifies people. And then on top of this, your lineage is aligned with what the music industry would allow. Your lineage is aligned with the people who are controlling the narrative around the music industry. And we just got to be honest about this. We're not going to sit here and be super politically correct and not tell the truth. Drake's lineage is aligned with the interest of what the people at the top of this industry want people to listen to, want them to think, and want them to act on. You see what I'm saying? So knowing this, Drake recognized his privilege. He knew that there is no situation where I should be able to have to even go head to head with somebody without having industry help. You see what I'm saying? And this is why that line is so loaded, because even when the game was rigged for him and he knew the game was rigged for him, he still lost. And when you have gone years and years and years feeling like you are that guy, even when your music isn't connecting anymore, but they make it seem like your music is connecting, you believe that you are something the industry or your label cannot be without. But Drake was sadly mistaken. He was sadly mistaken. And the reason why he was sadly mistaken is because somebody like Kendrick Lamar isn't supposed to be able to do what he did to Drake. That's just the reality of it. And this is the very reason why Drake is losing his mind. When Drake went against Pusha T, and we'll get into Meek Mill, but when Drake went against Pusha T and he was able to censor the story added on, which is crazy because they just admitted it in the lawsuit that they have censored multiple songs by Pusha T that had anything to do with Drake, right? When you're able to censor Pusha T, when you're able to force the public narrative against Meek Mill, right? When UMG has openly stated that they have helped you in these battles, how are you supposed to believe that somebody like Kendrick Lamar is able to beat you, especially when you've known for your entire career that Kendrick Lamar gets a certain level of respect that you're just never going to get? When your demise is by that man's same hand, that 1,000% could cause somebody to self-destruct. 1,000%. When the game is rigged for you because you have been blessed, right, to be in a position that the industry could use you, not only to manufacture and commodify hip-hop even further, but also do it without running the risk of you potentially saying something that could blow up the spot, or you saying something that could lean awareness to a war, or awareness to what's going on in the inner cities, awareness to the corruption of America. They don't have to worry about that, A, because you were chosen, right? B, you don't have those experiences to understand what that's like. You're from Canada. So using Drake was perfect for the industry. All they needed him to do was rap decent, sing decent, and write with writers who were good at making songs. Now, Drake is talented in writing his own way, like, you know, all that's cute, whatever. But the fact is, he was not writing his own stuff. And when you have this longevity and you're competing against people who are actually writing their own stuff, and you know that the game is rigged for you in every single way. You don't have to go away, because at the end of the day, There's going to be a dance hall song for you. There's going to be a reggaeton song for you, a UK drill song for you. Somebody is always going to be in the sweatshop providing for Drake. And when you have all of this going for you, and you still lose the battle, and you still lose the public opinion, even though you were controlling the public opinion, you now have to figure out, what the hell does this guy have that I do not have? How is this possible? How am I not able to censor a black man? That's what this whole thing is about. Y'all think I'm playing? Look at all the undertones that the racial undertones that Drake continues to reveal. The further he goes up in his career, the more untouchable he thinks he is, the more that his anti-blackness comes out. Am I lying? Most of the issues that we had, what Drake has said about blackness or whatever, come towards the end of his career, where he gets very blatant about it. So he had a certain level of arrogance, believing that there was no way that he could be knocked off because of his position, who he is, etc. Right? From that perspective, when you see a Kendrick Lamar, somebody who hasn't been outside in years, and you pair up with J. Cole to attempt to rewrite the history of who was really dominating that era, right? And then he pops out and clips you, you're going to self-destruct. I want to offer y'all another perspective, right? Kendrick Lamar was playing an extremely diabolical mind game with this guy. Imagine if your whole game plan is to drop Family Matters and then censor Kendrick Lamar so he can't respond, and you can make it seem like he was too afraid to respond. And before he's even able to figure it out, all of the media pages that are covering it, all these things that are now about to cover what you said in Family Matters, have already gotten the information out there. The damage is done. And you know it's done because Kendrick Lamar is not going to be able to respond, right? Which is why he was talking so cocky at the end of Family Matters. When Kendrick Lamar responds 30 minutes later, let's break that down. Kendrick Lamar responding 30 minutes later after Family Matters was probably the most psychological move he made in the entire battle, because Drake was expecting to be able to censor him. For him to respond 20 minutes later destroyed everything that Drake worked for. He shot the music video. He boom, he did all this different stuff because he knew toe to toe he couldn't fuck with Kendrick. But the fact that Kendrick dropped 30 minutes later, meet the grams at that, the most defaming shit that Kendrick put out, he is basically telling Drake, you are not as big as you thought you were. Completely dissecting and completely pulling the rug over this fantasy that Drake has had for his entire career. It's almost like Drake forgot that he was pushed and manufactured. He bought into his own hype. And what people don't understand is that is the psychological game that Kendrick Lamar was playing with this man. You are not as big as you think you are. And just because I don't come out here and brag about what I'm doing or brag about boom, boom, does not mean that I'm not moving either. I just did a world tour. But they would try to convince you that Kendrick Lamar was not a thing, that Kendrick Lamar fell off. That was the new narrative. They was trying to get him out of there. You see what I'm saying? From that perspective, Kendrick Lamar's whole game plan was a lot more about sending direct messages to Drake than anybody. And that response on Meet the Grams shattered all of the things that Drake thought about himself. Meet the Grams coming out 30 minutes after Family Matters shattered everything that Drake believed about himself. This is why he panicked and went full crash out mode. He thought maybe, well, it doesn't matter. I'm popular enough. You see what I'm saying? I'm popular enough. I've been able to tootsie slide out of situations and all types of stuff. Whenever something happened, I could just drop a hit and get the fuck out of here. What happens? None of the hits land. And they haven't landed since the battle. We're talking about 50 plus songs, 45 plus songs an album, a little EP with 100 gigs. None of this stuff is sticking. So Drake is having to sit in the scrutiny for the first time in his entire career. And you telling me his nemesis, the nigga that he been sneak dissing for 15 years, is the nigga that brought him to that? He's self-destructing, bro. And that brings me to my next point. Drake doesn't care. Drake does not care about winning this lawsuit. I'm telling you right now. It will be, I think he feels like it's possible he can get a settlement just by harassing UMG, harassing everybody involved, and just putting a settlement out there because he's probably slowing up business at this point. But what people don't understand is every single move that he's making, all the accusations that he's putting on Kendrick Lamar, these are things that he's doing in order to sway public opinion. And that's exactly what he's doing with this lawsuit. I don't think he cares about winning. I think it's about swaying the public opinion. I think he knows that he can't get no documents on, Dave Free's relationship with the kids and all that different stuff. I don't think he genuinely thinks he can get documents on being able to see Kendrick Lamar's entire contract. I don't think he genuinely thinks he can do all this stuff. Maybe the lawyers is running him for a buck. You see what I'm saying? Who knows? All I know is UMG's response, having to play defense, will be used. That's the whole point. They are hoping that they can use what UMG is going to say or what UMG is refusing to show and say, look, they're guilty. They don't care about reality. They care about winning the public opinion at any cost. And this is the same reason he's asking for the documents on the domestic abuse situation that Kendrick Lamar allegedly had. Even though there's no police report, there's no connection. Like, it's been debunked so many times. You see what I'm saying? From that perspective, when you notice that Drake is doing everything that he said he would do in Do Not Disturb, you can start to really understand that this isn't really about winning or anything. This is about the public opinion and trying to force the public opinion. And just like Kendrick Lamar said 616 in LA, the forced opinions is not convincing. Y'all need a new route. He's trying to force the opinion that he won the battle so that 10 years from now, when people talk about the battle, at least a percentage of people will say, no, it was rigged or whatever. And how well could he do that, or what could he do besides doing this lawsuit, something that everybody has their eyes on, and just putting stuff out there to even put the idea out there? There's a built-in excuse for every single route that Drake goes here. Whether it be UMG didn't want him to win, UMG seizes him Michael Jackson, he was going to own UMG, all this different stuff. He is playing a very, very dirty game. And it's all basically him telling y'all, if I ever lose, I'm going to self-destruct. I don't think we've even seen the full capacity of what Drake is capable of in this scenario. You talking about somebody who never truly believed they could lose. And it wasn't based on talent. It wasn't based on their ability. It was based on the relationships that they had. It's the reason why he's crashing out on LeBron. He's making songs like What Did I Miss? Boom, boom. Because his relationships were supposed to be the reason that he never lost. Drake's relationships were supposed to be the reason that he never lost. So when LeBron James is showing up to a Kendrick Lamar concert, when UMG is saying, we're not going to censor Kendrick Lamar, you're going to have to actually go win this battle, he can't believe this is happening. All the money y'all brought in, all the pop songs, all the boom boom. How is a guy like this who makes conscious rap able to minimize what I can do to him with my relationships? Think about it. I remember when Drake was talking about J. Cole and when they were the ones going at it. I seen a video on this not that long ago. I think it's by Kamikaze. And they brought up when Drake actually was going back and forth with J. Cole early on. It was just competition. And one of the things that Drake kept saying about J. Cole was that J. Cole was going to end up being the Nas of this generation, where he makes good music, boom, 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 and then insinuated himself as he's going to be the big hit maker, the big boom, 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 the big commercial guy, and all that different stuff, right? In the past, that guy isn't supposed to lose. You see what I'm saying? That guy in these situations is supposed to have the connections that put him in a different position, especially when you talk about his lineage. The fact that Kendrick won this battle defied all odds that preceded before this battle. This is why Drake wants to see that contract. Drake been fighting for a specific contract on UMG this whole time, bragging about the fact that Lucien will give him a budget that whatever budget he asked for. Lucien said it himself, I will give Drake whatever budget he wants. It don't matter what it is, I will give it to him. I think that Drake thinks Kendrick Lamar might be in the same situation. That Kendrick Lamar might be in a similar situation that allows him to get, whether it's a budget or whatever. Drake thinks that Kendrick is in a similar situation, and in order to soothe himself, he wants to go see it for himself. He wants proof. There has to be something going on here for me to lose. Impossible. He's still in the denial stage. You usually don't see in the 5 stages of grief, you usually don't see the denial stage last this damn long. It's been a year. And you see Drake show glimpses of his armor, chinks in his armor here and there where he's showing himself to be weak and boom, boom, but whatever. But if we being honest, Drake did not think he was supposed to lose this battle. And that's why he wants to see the contract. He wants to see what Kendrick's worth. He wants to see what Kendrick is bringing in, because there's no way this guy who didn't have to sacrifice any of his artistic integrity is able to do what I do. Is able to beat the system and not be censored. There's no way a guy like that is able to do that. That's exactly what's going on here. Drake don't give a fuck about winning this damn battle, about winning this damn court, this lawsuit. If he can get a settlement, it's great. He wants the public opinion. And this is why he's still trapped in this situation right here. I'll probably self-destruct if I ever lose, but I never do. And that's what this comes down to. Drake doesn't really care about winning the lawsuit. He wants to win the public opinion. And that's what it comes down to. But like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here and you ain't subscribed yet. I appreciate y'all's support. We're going to keep going up. Check out the Chains and Whips freestyle if you haven't checked it out yet. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm going to catch y'all soon.